interesting ideas I've ever had probably coming up with some of this shit. Like I figured out completely how to make the memory cell work. And I can explain that to you too if you want to know how it works, but might be able to do some, you know, putting our heads together shit and come up with some pretty good ideas on how to fuck with people. Hey, floating device. First of all, I'll probably turn your God mode on.
Yeah, that might help.
And I think I'm also going to eat a bunch of calories. So this is what I've come up with so far for a floor plan, but it's not perfected by any means yet. I think that this should be changed. Except for that cack. So that it's a little bit more efficient. Because right now I have it set up to be auto turrets, but I think we should be able to make it be shotgun traps. There's another guy that did a video. It's a smaller layout, but I think in order to get the right people into it, it needs to be like big enough, you know. So I'm basically going to replicate what I built yesterday. Mr. Jerry Jitty, what's up, man? My phone call a second. You collect some eggs there, bud?
Not this time.
You're gonna want one of these so I can show you some shit. Oh, what gun you got there? Oh, shit. Oh, 300, okay.
How come computer components have to be so expensive?
I don't know. But that's literally what I need a lot of, dude, is like, well, I mean, not a lot. I just need, you know. Wow, dude, you fucking won. You're the top. You're the top. Finally.
I know, I have to get that gold egg. They don't even give you a gold egg. They gave me 3 silvers.
Seriously?
Yep, 3 silver eggs.
Wow. What a rip.
Bullshit. That's rigged.
So the one thing that I need to figure out still on this center door controller is where I can place it that people don't walk in here and see it. Because they could, the problem is when they get to about right here is when the trap goes off, right? That means that they can turn around like they can stand like all throughout this area and not trigger the trap until they come around this corner. So
Can you put a controller on the ceiling? Like outside?
what I thought about doing actually is maybe say if I can set it on this door frame and then put the door over top of it, but I don't know if I can still. I mean, you can see it, but I don't know if I can configure it.
I mean, you would have to know what that is in order to see it, though.
Yeah, but I still
Like,
can't
I can't
configure it.
tell what it is.
I can't actually pair it to the door because the door is blocking it. So what I don't know is, can I put it upstairs?
Well, are you gonna have that so the door is open?
This is gonna be so the door is. Oh, yeah. So that when they walk through,
Like,
the door
'cause
could be blocking.
if you're gonna
it
have the door open, they wouldn't even see it because it's gonna be open. It's gonna.
You're
be
right. I could put it behind the door on that side. Yep. So I could put it right back here. And I can feed the wire through the wall, so that'd be perfect. See, that's why I wanted
That's
to
why
ask
I'm
you.
here.
Yeah. Okay. So let me synchronize these real quick. Actually, I probably need a lock. No, the other trap base is still standing, bro. Alright, so the goal is this door stays open. Person walks in, comes around the corner. HABA sensor sets off, closes this door opens, and this door opens simultaneously. Those auto turrets kill everybody in the room. But I think what we want to do is somehow set it up so that shotgun traps take care of the business instead, because this would be a lot cheaper. And we wouldn't have to find a bunch of auto turrets, and we wouldn't have to craft a bunch of auto turrets to make it happen. But for now, I'm just going to do it like this so we can... what I really want to figure out is the whole battery power thing and the transition between that and going from solar to battery at night. But I'm going to set this up on the wall real quick here. Do you care to learn anything about any of the stuff at all, or do you even want to know?
I mean, chances are you're gonna set it all up anyway, so as long as you understand it, we should be good, right?
Well, yeah, but I was just thinking if you want to learn about it, it's actually pretty simple, but it's whatevs. I don't care. If you don't care, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm more of like a old school trap based kind of guy, you know?
Yeah, but you're gonna like this shit. I kind of went over this in my head today, and I think I'm gonna try something with the blockers and this here. What the fuck? Select the wrong thing. There we go. These batteries here. So someone told me yesterday that if I place solar panels, that I want to place them facing to the north. And I think it's because the sun comes up in the east and sets in the west, but I mean, I don't know if every server is identical or how that works. Okay, so a couple combiners. I set the code to 5555.
Now we're gonna get stream sniped.
Game over.
It's
All
the
right.
same code we've been using for a month.
I know. Did you kill him?
Yep, he died.
I was gonna get those fuckers charging for now. What's up, Token? What's going on, Werewolf? How you doing, bud? Power in the memory cell. Power in the reset. And I need to power in something. That'll come back to me again in a minute. We don't care about the toggle. This is purely only for resetting this after the fact. This is going to control the door controller. Actually, this is going to go to... There's a third power that goes down to the HFBF sensor, I believe it was. We don't want people to necessarily see it. See the wiring for it. They're sneaking around in here, so let's get a little sneakier with this. Are you fighting the helicopter?
Yep.
So the HFBF sensor hits the set, which is going to transition the power. So this is where it gets kind of confusing right here. Like I was calling this yesterday, this is not more of a memory cell to me, it's more of a, well, it's a memory cell because it keeps the information without changing it back. If someone steps on a pressure pad and makes something happen, you don't want them to step back off the pressure pad and make it unhappen. This is so it, once you make the switch to the power, it stays switched. But really this is a power inverter, or power diverter. I'd call it diverts the power from one circuit to the other circuit. So I'm going to divert the power from the inverted output to the output. And then the switch right here on the wall, this timer, is going to reset it so it goes back to what default was. This toggle is something for something completely different. I'm not even going to use toggle at all. Toggling basically means it toggles between the power left and right as you continue to like step on the pressure pad or walk through the laser beam or set off the HFBF sensor. So this power here is going to go through an OR switch and it's going to come over into this and eventually, but I got to play with how I'm going to make that work still. So this actually might change right here, but I just wanted to start getting these batteries charged up. All right. I think while this is charging though, I'm going to set up some different power out here. It's permanent, like fucking windmill power. Just so I can make sure everything works properly before I try and make everything else work. Alright, so let's make sure this thing works right. First I'm gonna power first door, which is the entry door, which is going to be left open. You gotta see where that door controller is at. We'll put it behind the door here. We don't want this power, we don't want to see this wire coming down the wall though above the door. We don't want to see that, so we're going to bring it in on the soft side of this wall here. Cool thing is this door is here, so we can see how high that is. We want to come in below where the door is going to be open at, right? So that is working the way we want it to be. It's automatically swinging open because it's got power to the door controller. But we also want this door and that door to open at the same. Oh, I just tripped the trap. Do you see that? All right. We want both of those doors to open at the same time, right? But the memory cell only has one output on that side. So I just pulled the one off of this side for the Dubus down there, which I should have probably went up and over so you can see where that was going to. But I'm going to take a another splitter over here, and I'm going to take power from this side, bring it into that box because we have to power two door controllers. This I need to still set the time. We can't set the time on this unless it's powered. So it's set for 1 second because all I'm going to do is reset that. I just did the reset, so it went back to what the default was. So I'm going to take this power here. Power that door controller. The other one's got to come all the way over to this door, but again, we want it to be behind this door really, so we don't see anything. We don't want that to be seen until it's too late. And I'm going to show you a third thing that I want to do with this power off of this fuse box today too. But that's going to be part of the fucking masterpiece that I've been creating in my head today. Alright, so I've got this power all the way over to here. The door is right below this. Alright, if all this works properly, this should be on. That should be on, that would be closed. We're going to do a quick reset. I'm going to go out of the base without going out of the base. You know what I'm saying? This is what people are going to see when they walk in. I'm going to put some, along that wall, I'm going to put some, what you call them? It's like some furnaces, right? This door is going to be closed. They're going to be like, what the fuck's going on here? Nothing's happened with this door. HFPF sensor gets tripped. Boom, they get shit on. Did you kill him?
Yep.
Pretty sweet. So that's how we do that. Does it look simple enough, bro?
Yep.
Alright, so now I need an ore switch. Why did my time change work? Yeah, it'd be funny, right? So what I figured out last night is if you run these batteries in series, it doesn't give you enough power still. You have to run them in parallel. If we use the root combiner to combine the power from both of them, they start to drain automatically because the root combiner takes power. And while the root combiner is taking power, those batteries won't charge. So what I want to have happen is I want the solar panels on the roof to run this whole entire Shazam whack. When the sun gets low enough, the power gets dropped off of the bypass, so the blocker bypasses. That power then comes into the combiner and then to the Debuswhack through the ore switch. So what I don't know how I'm going to do yet is I think I'm going to pull the power off the splitter over here on the ore switch. Put it into side A. And this power is going to come off and go into side B. And that's going to come over to that fuse box. But I still need to power these somehow, which I'm probably going to pull power off of something with a branch to power those at 1 volt apiece to block the power coming from here to there. So I'm going to go, let's see, power out. It's going to go into power in there, and power out there is going to go into power in there. And this is going to go to there, and that's going to go to there. But if I hook those up now, it's going to start drawing power off those batteries, so I can't do that yet. Is that an M249 I just heard you pull out?
Yeah, I got 4 of them.
Nice. From eggs or what?
Yeah, I was opening some eggs.
Mm.
I was trying to see what like the drop rate was.
How was it?
I opened 20 of them and I got 3 M2s.
Wow. So we got pretty lucky when we got that one the other night.
Yeah, we did. I got a bunch of MP5s, some M39s, a couple shit rockets, 1 LR. I think we got really lucky.
Sounds lucky.
I was watching Enac the other day, and every time he opened it, he was getting like MP5 pretty much.
Yeah, he was getting pretty upset about that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
This is about to get fucking crazy here.
So I learned that if you're shooting fire bullets out of LR, it breaks before the heli goes down.
Say that again? Fire bullets from the LR will break
Yeah, I was shooting
before you
the
actually jump.
heli. Yeah, I couldn't kill the heli, and my gun broke. So I spawned in an M2 instead.
Hmm.
I think the most prevalent thing in the eggs is the grenade launcher. I'm glad you understand this because it looks like Chinese to me.
I mean, I didn't used to understand it at all.
I'm just gonna stick to being able to like rig up lights and stuff.
I still don't know if I'm making this work right or not at this point. I'm just going off of some fucking theories I have. Shaggy was streaming a bit with Beach Hills and got an M2 and streamed sniped off the server today. Sad. Yeah, it's shitty, dude. Poor Enoch today got pissed at his subs today during the third sub day. What happened there? Rust Electric is just learning basic code, yeah. Basic code language, but it means, yeah, circuitry. So, the sad thing is these are discharging right now. These should be powered from this splitter or branch. The branch should be being powered. Power in. Oh, because I haven't hooked up. Okay, that's what's wrong. Hold on. That's already hooked up. What's powering this in? What should be powering this in? Not this. This power out. Okay, so I usually set to 4 because this takes 1, that takes 1, 1, and 1, I think. So I'm getting power right now from I don't know what the fuck. I need to spread these cables out so I can look at it and understand what the fuck I just did. This is all working, so this is all working proper right now. In fact, I think it's actually working exactly the way I want it to work. I think I actually already got it figured out. And I can explain this all to you guys. Power comes in from the top into the splitter. Splitter splits power to power the batteries to charge them up. This electrical branch, which I can pull power from it too if I want to. The electrical branch comes over to this fuse box purely to power these two blockers. So during the day while the sun's shining and there's enough power coming in, these blockers are powered and the batteries are charging. The only thing I don't remember is what I ran this third power to the OR switch. That's right, because the OR switch gets power, but does it get enough? I don't think it does. I think what I need to do is not run the power from this. Now it's wired right. Because this is getting 21 in, 20 out, 20 into here, 19, 19, 19. Okay, now we're good. Now we're solid. So what's happening is I'm taking the 79, 1/3 of 79, because it's coming in 80. 1/3 of 79 is coming into here at 25, which is about right. I'm taking 4 of the 79 and I'm putting it into this electrical box to power these two blockers. That's blocking the power so that these batteries should be charged. They're fully charged at 15 minutes now. So that's blocking the power to go to this combined power because the combiner would draw power from the batteries if they was hooked directly to the combiner anyways, right? So now I'm blocking that power so these batteries will charge up during the daytime. I want them to come out in parallel at 20 electrical units to power this at night because like 10 is just not enough. I figured that out yesterday. 10 is not enough to power this on its own. So during the daytime, the solar is coming into this branch. Branch is blocking the power at the batteries so they don't discharge. The other side of the branch is full on as much power as I can pull, which looks like it's 25. 25 comes into here at 21. I don't know why it's 21. I'm losing power from 25 to 21 out of this, but maybe it's because it's 25 and I'm pulling 4 for this. That's probably what it is. Yeah, because it's 25 at either side. It's kind of buggy to me. This should say it's 4 and that should say it's 21. So 21's coming out of it. 20 comes out because this takes 1 power. This power comes over here into this box and controls the whole system I created on that side. So this is what I wanted to try tonight. I wanted to see if I could make this work and have the sun go down, the voltage drop enough that the power from the solar panels drops off. The branch doesn't put enough power out anymore for the blockers. The blockers unblock and go into the combiner, and the combiner goes over and powers this instead through the OR switch. So what I need to do is change the time of day. And finish this chicken. I don't know what time of day this is going to be. Okay, I made it so it's starting to get dark. So I set it to 19 as the time. 22 is full dark. So I know that would be like, psh. What I want to see happen is this transition. So this is no longer getting powered. Which concerns me because I think that that means that the other side of this bad boy is not getting power at all until that turns green. Alright, so that just went dark because you can see now this is not getting any power at all, or not enough. Something's not wired right. We're not getting any power out of solar, which is what's supposed to happen. Change it back to morning. Okay. I really think it's wired properly. I guess the only thing I don't know is why the batteries aren't taking over. Because the solar, if the solar gets low enough, the branch should get lower enough that it doesn't block anymore and the batteries take over. I was only using the windmill power to make sure everything was working right. I disconnected windmill power. I don't want to have to rely on having a windmill in the game in order to make this work. My whole idea is I don't necessarily want to have a big battery, and I don't necessarily want to have a big solar panel, or a solar panel, whatever, a wind dubus. The wind dubus and the battery are expensive, and not completely necessary if I can keep it the budget low. Low overhead. Yeah, the wind dubus. They call it a turbine. I call it a windmill. I'm gonna go with the dubus for now. All right, so let me make this simpler. Well, it's not simpler. Let's organize this a little bit better. Maybe what I should do instead, I don't know why I did that, is use the branch to charge the battery instead. I got 63 coming out, 65 total coming in, 64, 64, 64. This is using one that this is split 3 ways. Question, where is TC gonna go in that base? Yesterday I had it like I want to say back inside behind here, but I might put it upstairs. And the other thing that I thought about today is if someone's gonna come in here and they're gonna do some shit, I'm gonna make this sheet metal and that sheet metal at minimum. So they're gonna come around here and get that sensor to go off. Like I might sheet metal the whole ceiling right inside here because I don't want them to be able to come in here and pick their way up through the bottom before, you know, setting the trap off. So, but I'm not really worried about. I mean, I should probably put a TC down because this base is decaying already. I mean, you could literally put the cupboard upstairs, but that's cool that I need to do that anyway. Alright, so let's see. Power comes in. Let's try and see what happens if we can use the branch to... I don't like how they decide which, like, where you're gonna put the power in or power out, but whatever. What if I did just do this? And I'm going to take that power now. I made it 21 because this should take one power. It means I should have split 10 each way. These can only charge the maximum of 10. So now I still have... so if it's 60 and I set it to 21, that means I should have, what, 47? 47 power still. So I can take that 47 power. Maybe let's put that 47 power directly into the ore switch. I may not even need this box here. Okay, so now then, at least we don't have a bunch of cables running along the floor we don't know what for. All these cables that are now here are all for just this. So we need to worry about what's going on with that string of cables. It's a bunch of different cables coming in and out, but we already know what that's all for and it all works right. So now I need to do my blockers again. I just don't know how the blockers should work. That's where, I mean, I know how they work. I just don't know how I'm going to reliably make the transition with the blockers losing power or not. If the blockers lose power because the solar, because the sun goes down, maybe I need to pull that power directly from this box because that's the power coming off the roof from the solar. Let's do this. We'll put a blocker and a blocker, and we'll put our combiner here. The other thing I'm not sure about is if I pull power off of this, I'm going to be putting a third of 74, so basically 25 volts into each blocker, which is way overkill. I might want to separate this off of some branches, but just to see what happens, I guess, first. See, that pulled so much power that the 1/3 coming out of here is now 24 coming out and going into here, and that's, if this has 21 coming out, that means there's only like 2 going that way. So I do need to conserve power that way. And I'm going to use 2 branches right here so I can pull a minimal amount of power. See, that pulled it pretty far down, but what I want to do is I want to configure this. See, that's not, they might not work either, because now I'm pulling 25 and 25. I might have to hook these things up in like a series. All right, so let's see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this power. And the only reason why I'm not going to eliminate this at this point is because it's easier for me to pull off of this fuse box, because I can still pull off this fuse box and put power that way without having to go to the roof and run the wire again every single time. I actually am going to put these kind of the same way I just did. They're set up to default whatever 1 volt or whatever, but I'm going to power one of them. And 2 of them. I did it wrong the first time, I think. So what I want to do is, the definition of this thing is to branch the power off of it. So all the power that you branch off of it is going to go off to the one way. So 78 coming out, it's going to be 78 coming in, 77 coming out, 77 coming in. We're going to branch the default 2. I think that might definitely be enough, but that's going to be the block. We're pulling off the branched power side, so the 2 coming off again. That's going to block the power on both of those. So what we should end up with is literally this slot is still pulling all that extra power. So we're going to put that power now back into this branch. So now this box has 72 instead of the 25, 25, and 25 we were splitting off of 4. Now we will pull off 4 total. I think it is 4 total. 79, 4 total gives us down to 75. Perfect. Our theories are correct. So these are only using the 1 volt to make the blocker work now. So now that we're blocking the power on the blockers, now we can wire the batteries to the blockers to the combiner into the OR switch. Let's do this. We're going to try and keep this out of that wiring still so we can see it. That way if we have something fucked up, we can figure it out. Power in. Power is blocked. 0 power coming out. Battery is still charging. Exactly how we want it. Power in, no power coming out, still blocked. Battery is also still charging. Blocker goes out into bottom of combiner. For a combined total of 0. Until the power goes down far enough on these that it lets the bypass happen. So this combined power output needs to go into the other side of the OR switch. Now the way the OR switch should work is whatever has the higher amount of power, either or, the higher power goes through to the Dubus. So that means if the sun goes down and the moon comes up and someone left long ago with the cup, then sun goes down, the power goes out here, the power goes out there low enough that the batteries take over. The only thing I'm still worried about at this point is the transitional point between the batteries taking over and the solar power dropping enough power down that we don't lose enough voltage. We'll see. We'll see how it works, but let's check it out again. You know what we do need in this room?
A light.
So the power has gotten low enough. The blockers are no longer blocking. The battery passed through. The batteries are depleting, which means to me that the power coming in here it's not getting to the OR switch. Why? It's because these still have power somehow. How do these still have power if there's no solar power? There is still solar power. I still have 18 motherfucking powers coming into this bitch. So, let's wait it out and make sure everything fucking works. We'll wait it out. Hold on. Yeah, these batteries are still gaining power. But I don't think there's enough power for this fucker to work right now. It's only got 20 coming in, and 20 is not enough to power this motherfucker. Where's John at when you need him? Because John understands this shit. I mean, I'm starting to understand the shit, but... Why is the fucking sun coming up?
Because it's daytime.
I told it to be fucking nighttime.
You put the wrong time in.
No. Time 22 is fucking... Hold on.
You need 2200.
No, you don't. Hour 22. It's darker than fucking shit. Solar power is not working right now. It is darker than fuck cheese. I have no power coming into this fucking thing. How am I not getting power? These are discharging. Ten coming in, 9 coming out, 0 going into the combiner. Zero power coming out of the blockers, so they're not blocking power. These are full open right now. Can you not hook blockers into combiners?
It's possible, I guess.
No, because what's going on here is this power from the batteries is going into the OR switch. The OR switch should power that way, not back this way. Or it should not also come back into here and repower this. It's not a loop. Power is coming from the solar panels into the branches. The branch power goes into the blockers. The rest of the power goes off to charge the batteries and run the power out. Uh-oh. Here, bunny suit?
Nope.
Sun's up. Batteries are charging. Shit's working. Wonder if John's throwing rocks at the ice tonight.
His dot shows green. I think he's on. Steam shows him playing Rust.
Oh, is he? Does it show up in Discord that he's playing Rust?
Yeah, maybe he's just idle in it, maybe?
AFK crafting, trying to get his hours back up.
Yep.
Damn, dude, you gonna win again?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at this game.
I'm trying to think if there's any other ways I can do it. Maybe power from the panels needs to power the switch. Power dies from the panels to switches. So let's think about this for a sec.
That's actually pretty good. I opened the 3 silvers and I got a jackhammer, a chainsaw, and a double barrel.
Wow. Jackhammer's pretty lit. The only thing I don't like about
That'd be
the little game system they put in the game is it changes the balance a little bit of the game.
Yeah, I mean, guys who would never have an M2 can have an M2 now.
Well, and like the abundancy of jackhammers, the abundancy of all the rockets that people are
Yeah.
getting, you know, it's just, it's fun, but
I mean, it's only gonna be for like a week or something.
yeah. But I mean, it goes back to the snowballs, you know. It's like H. June stopped playing Rust while snowballs were in the game. He like literally hated snowballs that much he didn't even fucking play the whole time.
Well, snowballs are just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing I don't like about the egg event is you drop frames pretty bad.
All right. While this is working, part of what I wanted you to be on tonight for is come down here real quick. What I want to do is I think I can change this so it's exclude authorized, exclude others. So exclude non-building auth players. Exclude building authorized player. So if I exclude non-building authorized players, are you authorized on the cupboard?
No.
So come up here and auth real quick. What I want to see is if you're authorized and I'm authorized, are we going to set the trap off? See, I'm authorized. Come around the corner. And you're authorized. So which means if this door is open and we're running around in here, we're not going to trigger it, right? It means me and you can run in and out of here all we want and not trigger it. But if I deauth myself, and I come back inside, I should set it off because you're not going to trip it and I'm going to. Doesn't seem to have changed anything. I'm building blocked. You're not building blocked. Let me unblock myself. Seems like the fucking lingo on this is a little bit weird. Exclude authorized. Exclude authorized building players. Okay. Oh, am I dumb? Yeah, I'm dumb. Hold on. Walk in that room.
Nothing. It was working before.
Alright, now it works the way I think it should. Walk back out. So you go out in the sand. I'm going to reset it real quick. I'm going to come out and walk in and see if it trips or not. And then after that I'm going to have you walk in, because I don't think it should trip with me going in there now. Yep, now come in. Perfect. Because you're not authorized. And I am. So how did I set that? I think I set it to lower. Include authorized. Include building authorized players. So that means I can walk in and out of here without a problem, but you can't. So that'd be something that we're going to have set up too, so we don't actually trip it ourselves. Like, we're going to run into the base. Someone's going to chase us in. We might get killed, but we don't want to set it off before they walk all the way into it. I'm still sad I can't get this to work right. Suburban Werewolf wants to see this work in action. That means he says we have to put live ammo on these.
There, ammo right behind you.
Too late. I think you just died.
Yeah, I would have been dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're pretty dead. That's how it works.
Took 30 rounds to break a cack.
Took 3 rounds to whack a cack.
Yep. Whacked it good.
Alright, we're gonna make this experiment. You know what? Let's do it over here. Yeah, I might do that, bro. Thanks for the info. I'm gonna do this without hooking a blocker up to the path. That's what I want to do. That seems to be the problem right there. You got 9 coming out, 0 going in. Root combiner does not want to work with the power blocker. Am I just fucking doing this wrong, people? Power in, power out, block pass through. I seen a bug about this the other day where you can't disconnect unless you connect to something else or something weird. Won't let me disconnect. I have to probably. I'm just gonna pick them up. Nah, because it says that there's 9 coming out. You should be able to combine 9 and 9 and get 18. Because there's 10 coming out, 1 going into the blocker in each. 9 should come out into this, 9 should come out and go into this. If it's not 18, it should be 17 because this might take 1 power, so I have 17 power coming out. Because literally I should be able to get '20s right there. So I should have 18 because those ones would take 1 each. But right now my batteries are discharging because they're hooked up to this root power Dubus. I just don't see any other way to do this. Unless I do like somebody else was saying the other night and use different batteries for different parts of the circuitry. So I charge both batteries. I eliminate the blockers. Okay. One battery I use for the door controllers. The other battery I use for the HFBF sensor and the memory cell. Maybe this just needs to be not as complicated. I still don't understand why this doesn't work, because in my theory that should work just great. But apparently it's just not enough. If that worked, I think this whole entire thing would work just. I'm probably completely wrong and probably a better way. But if you have blockers that need power to connect the loop, like an always off MOSFET, then you would have to run a blocker that triggers them after the panels lose power. I'm not quite following what you're saying exactly, but basically this should have power that goes directly through it as long as this part does not have power. When this gets powered, this blocks the power from going through. So that's why I have this thing powered, right? So I don't know, maybe what I'll do is try and use one battery for one thing, one battery for the other, through two different OR switches. It didn't sound like that worked out very well.
No, that didn't go very well. Next time. I'm just gonna spawn a bunch of them in so I keep fucking them up.
All right. All right, how am I gonna do this, guys? It seems like it just turned a lot more complex. I feel like I'm gonna have to have two different AB switches. Two different OR switches, right? One OR switch for the door controllers. I'd say like one OR switch for each fuse box. But I still feel like I'm gonna have to have a blocker in there somehow. What are you trying to do?
Don't you worry about that.
You practicing your flying skills? You trying to figure out how to do a loop-de-loop?
Yeah, trying to.
I saw someone do one the other day. I think what we'd have to do is get a whole ton of elevation, go into a dive, and try and come back out of it. But I don't know. I think the big thing is speed. I think what I'm going to do because I have one panel right here that powers everything, right? Then that powers the double door controller. Maybe what I need to do is have one battery for just the memory cell with an OR switch. That's right. He's doing some serious blow up of shit. Taking the OR switch out of the loop. I don't really want to rerun all those wires, but you know what? We're going to take the shit off the wall. Is he dead?
I don't think regular bullets can kill a cactus.
Really?
I don't think so.
I think I'm done with blockers and combiners for now. Since
Firebolts
that shit's kind of not working the way I want it to work. Alright. We know we want 2 batteries. We know we want 2 OR switches because we're going to have 2 batteries going off the OR switches. We know we want to charge both the batteries, and both batteries need to go into the bottoms of this OR switches. And we also need solar power going into the OR switches. So let's figure out how we're going to do this. I might need a branch battery power from this circuit. We know we can only use 20 each battery. think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a branch for each battery. But if I pull a third off of each one of these, that's not going to work the way I want it to. So maybe I want a second one. Maybe let's hook it off on one side. Let's see how this works. Branching power off of the battery, or off to the battery at 10. And I'm going to branch power off the other side of this circuit. Also at 10. So at 54 coming in right now, it's split in 3 ways. It's probably because it's not high noon anymore. Both batteries are charging at maximum capacity. Which also makes me think that if I'm going to pull power off the other side of this for the solar power to power everything, we're also going to do 2 branches, one for each OR switch. So each OR switch So I got 9 coming out each side on the OR switches. Okay. Then if the solar gets too low, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a blocker per each. I think I need to have blockers still. Where to put those? That's branch, root combiner, blockers. I think I'm going to not necessarily run these into combiners, but I'm going to run these. How am I going to do this? I'll put it on the floor just because at least we'll kind of keep it organized. But I need to pull power from the solar side. Solar goes, the sun starts going down. Solar side loses power. Solar side power. Yeah, see, this is just not going to transition the way I wanted, I think, still. But let's just do this for giggles and grins. I want a block pass through that way. Do we need to have a branch for each one of these too? Just so I can limit how much power? Because I can't daisy chain the blockers. I have to like run power to each blocker. Those are draining right now. I don't have enough power off that circuit to power the blockers, so I'm working on my Raspberry Pi custom media center at the same time, all the different Linux distros for this thing, finding the best. Dude, I have a Raspberry Pi too. Tell you what, I put an operating system on them. That's as far as I went. I also have an Arduino Uno, but I never really mastered that thing yet either. Problem is that the Earth rotates too fast. It makes the days too short, so there's not enough time between 40 hours a week working, full-time streaming, and Arduino Uno and Raspberry Pi. So Rust just takes over precedence, and you gotta do what you gotta do, you know? So I feel like this battery is charging because it's getting the full 20, but this battery is not charging at all because it's not getting enough to charge. Power comes out, goes in, set to 10. Power goes out, set to 10. I think what I need to do is I need to do a battery on its own, each separate circuit. Instead of trying to split the branches off. Power comes out, goes into the blocker. We'll do this on the solar side again. Let's see. Solar comes out. Solar goes into this. I'm going to restart this too, just because it looks a little more confusing than it needs to be for me right now. So I got the power Going through that shit. These should be discharging right now the way I see it. 432. It's kind of staying the same. That's discharging. That's not really doing anything still. Let's get the shit out of the way. Power is going into the blocker. This needs to have power coming into it from I'm not sure what yet. The problem is I don't have enough power on the third because I got 60 coming in right now from the solar. That means I'm gonna have 20 per circuit right now because it's split 3 ways. I think this is just going to come down to me having to have a large battery unless I can figure this out. I can do this easily with a large battery. I just wanted to see if I could do this with small batteries because they're easier to get. You get them a lot more than a large battery. So you study more into traps or like extra memes for inside the base? Not too sure what you mean by that. I got the memes all figured out. That's easy. I got my HFBF sensor, the doors open up, auto turrets wreck people. But what I'm trying to figure out is if I have solar going on like a motherfucker outside, right? During the day, I gotta be charging batteries and have it transition over so at night my trap still works. That way if someone gets trapped, they run in to get their shit and there's no power to the trap anymore, can they get their stuff back before it's too late? Or do all my traps basically just not work at the transition of dawn and dusk? And I have to wait for actually light to be outside and solar to be working for my traps to work. If I have a windmill and a large battery at each one of these bases, it makes it easy to be able to operate the whole thing. But when you see a windmill on top of a small base like this, and the bases all look the same, people are going to start recognizing that this is a trap base because it's got a windmill on top of a small base. But if I've got solar, like I've got right now, like this, I've even seen people do this shit before, right? You just take this moffuck, you build all these little half walls around the outside, and then most of the time from ground level you're not even going to see that there's solar on the roof. You're just going to run up and figure out what's going on in the base, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to do is make it so that it's less obvious what's going on here. The other thing is you find batteries, small batteries, a lot in boxes and things like that. If you can't find a large battery, for one, for two, you have to have a tier 2 bench, I believe, to craft a large battery. Tier 2 required. Also costs you 50 high qual. Small battery, on the other hand, is 1 bench, tier 1 bench, 10 high quality, and I could craft 5 small batteries for the same cost of 1 large battery. So what I was thinking about doing, I haven't really said anything about it yet, is I come up with this base design like this, right? It's fairly inexpensive. It's my little trapbase.com, right? And I set these up in like 4 different areas on the map, right? I find some high traffic areas. Some are going to be better than others. I try and find places where they're really populated, or they're going to be going to like outpost, or they're going to be going to bandit, right? when this goes off, when this trap goes off, I'm going to have a transmitter that's going to transmit a signal. And at my 5th base, I'm going to have 4 trap bases just like this, same exact layout. My 5th base is going to be a base of operations. When this base sends a signal out that the alarm has gone off, that the trap has gone off, I'm going to have a light in my master base that goes off, and underneath that sign it's going to say, like, under that light that goes off, it's going to say trap base 1. I kill myself, spawn on the bed of trap base 1, run downstairs, collect the guy's loot, run upstairs, throw all of his loot on a box, reset the trap, kill myself, go back home. So we have 4 bases to maintain that are going to be all 4 trap bases, all laid out the same way on a map. Hopefully, one or two of them are going to probably be really active, and a couple of them may not be. It just depends on location. That's just kind of how business works. Location's everything, right? And I can set up this operation where trap bases are constantly going off and having to move loot around. And then at night, when it gets dark out, I can spawn on the bag, grab a bunch of loot, gear up from one guy that died or whatever, have his armor set, his guns and ammo and all of his resources or whatever is important, and run that shit home or fly it home or whatever it may be. And the trap base stays fucking. So that's kind of my plan. But what I need to have is some self-sufficient bases where during the day and during the night and that transition of dawn and dusk, that the base doesn't lose power. Because again, like I was saying, if the base loses power, the auto turret doors close at night because the door controllers don't have power anymore. The main door leading into the base stays closed because the way the power is set up, it's tripped. So it may not be a big deal, but that just means to me if the trap is open and people can just walk in, then it might be bad news bears. So what I'm trying to do is get self-sufficient battery power and a transition between night and day. That I don't have to worry too much about the power on the base working or not working, only maybe for a fraction of a second, you know what I'm saying? I could do that. I could literally set up a transmitter for my main base and have receivers at every other base, and I could turn the power off to everything in the middle of the night. And then I could flip a switch and turn it back on during the day. But I'd have to go to each individual base and reset the trap, because if I turn the power off to the whole entire trap, the doors are going to close for the trap. So John had a setup. Let's do this. I'm going to try and replicate what John did. I'm going to do it with a large battery. What he would do is he would have a large battery. I'm just going to dump this down the stairs again because that seemed easier last time. And he would make it so that during the day the large battery would be charging, and at night the blocker, or if the power got too low, he had it set up so if the power got too low, the blocker would take over and block the power. Did you use an OR switch though? Hey, you remember when John used to build those fucking battery windmill blocker whatever? Did he use do you remember if he used an OR switch or not?
I think sometimes he did. Like if we had it.
Alright, so let's do this. Nice, a 2x2, huh? One of these days, dude, I'll show you how to make it 3x3. If I can be mind blown. I feel like he just used to use a branch. And a blocker. Was it an OR switch to block the battery side? Yeah, that helps. That helps a lot, dude.
That shit lasts a long time.
That's what she said. It's all in my hair and stuff. Man, you couldn't see shit if it hit you in the eye, though, could you? Can you imagine tossing some of those down on the outside of someone's base and then just start rocketing it? Motherfuckers wouldn't know what to do. They just get shit
I've seen
on.
it happen.
Really? To who?
I was watching Kira and HCAB.
Yeah?
Yeah, they were getting raided, and I don't know if they accidentally hit the smoke or somebody hit smoke, and they couldn't even get to the door.
Yeah?
Like, Kira was like, place a door, and HCAB's like, I can't even see the fucking opening. What do you want me to do?
Wow. So what John had happen, what he was trying to do, I think, is if the power from the windmill, if the windmill stopped spinning fast enough, if the power got too low from the windmill, the battery would take over. Does that seem right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know where to begin with that for some reason. I don't understand how. I remember he used a blocker. So if the power got too low from the windmill, he'd block the power from the windmill and the battery would take over. That means he had to use an OR switch. Because he didn't want to just pull power from the battery all the time. He only wanted to pull battery or power from the battery when the windmill got too low. But it seems like an if statement. If power drops below X, power of the blocker, battery takes over. But that means to me he'd almost have to use a I don't know how these work as much, but power in, clear counter is a counter, increment, decrement, pass through, power in, power out. It's just a counter is all it really is. Set to pass through. Power in. Clear counter. Decrement, blah, blah, blah. Pass through. So that was just a pass through power. It always just said how much power you had coming in. Sounds like John's in the middle of something. So yeah, dude, I was pretty damn excited when electrical came out, but I never really used. I mean, I've used it a little bit here and there, but I think becoming versed in it a little bit better and having a better understanding of how it all works and how it should be laid out. If it's easier to do, you can easily come up with some better ideas on how to do stuff, and the more you use it, the easier the shit gets. So. So here's the thing. A large battery is capable of taking 100 charge units. Our maximum input is 80, and now I'm using a third of that power to charge the battery. Right now it seems like I'm using 76, but I think 77 total coming in, and this panel is, you know, I guess we can test this too. I can put one of these right here and answer that question. So since I'm using only the 1/3 of this, it's basically just creating a pass through, and I'm using 75. So that is somewhat good. But as soon as I pull power off the other side, another side of this is going to split that power, right? So if I put a box here. fucked that up. Now I split that power in half. Half of it's going this way, half of it's going that way. Now our solar is dropping off because night is coming. Maybe that's how it's supposed to work. As the solar power was dropping off, the battery would take over. Or there wasn't enough units coming out of it. What's up, Got Killed? How you doing, bud? So somebody else is on the server. They're trying to do something for a couple seconds. That's fine because I'm just trying to charge my battery or whatever still, but so let's say the power goes down far enough. How is he using the blocker? He's probably pulling power off the electrical branch and powering the blocker with 1 unit of output. He was also using an OR switch, I'm pretty sure. So we're at 69. $68 because you're using this. 68 split in half should have been 34 a piece, but I'm gonna let it slide this time. There's your 34, but why it's 70? I have no idea why it's dropping off. Maybe it's because each one of these is using 1 unit of power. 70, 69, 68, 67. So really it's kind of just right in that split into 34 a piece or whatever. So let's say we have battery power coming off this main battery. That goes into the OR switch. OR switch has now got 100 units of power, but that's going to start dropping power. So he was blocking the battery. I might do that. I might need to figure this out off stream. I might have to go watch a bunch of videos and then do some trial and error, but that's the thing, is I set it so that Rust does game capture and not so much screen capture. I think I had a screen capture set up. but it's all black. Let me try something new here. That's not what I wanted to do. Also not what I wanted to do. That's weird, I can't drag a video into my stream.
What do you mean you can't drag it into your stream?
Well, if I try and do like a window capture for like Google Chrome, it comes up like black and it doesn't show. Like I have this Chrome Dubus. This is like, you can see where it's black is that's my web page. What I'm not doing is I'm not doing desktop capture, I'm doing window capture right now. So Rust is being captured because it's capturing the executable and not, I can't just bring like, I can't bring a web page into my stream so you can look at the web page while I'm trying to,
Yeah, I gotcha.
so that's where I'm kind of struggling. So I was using a different, let me set this back to default. Can't get that to work, so I can't really watch a video of the stream. That's right, though. All right, so we got power coming in .com. I just don't know how I'm supposed to switch between how John used to do it with the branch. And the Dubus. I think I know what he did now. He probably branched 100 out to the battery. And if the power got below 100 output, it would switch to the battery power. He'd probably branch enough off to the battery that if it got below X amount on the non-branch side, the blocker would open up and open the battery up, maybe. Stream browser? I was kind of trying that. I almost have to watch a tutorial on it again. What you said before? I'm gonna find a YouTube video of this, maybe. Maybe we can listen to it.
Hey guys, Mal here, and today we're starting a mini-series called Rust Electricity 101. Now I'm calling it a mini-series because it's going to be a series of short and to-the-point videos on how to accomplish practical things with electricity in Rust. I'm not here to make a computer or a clock in Rust. I'm here to teach you how to do things that you will actually want to use during a wipe. The first video, for example, will teach you how to set up a power source which charges your battery and supplies power to your base at the same time. It then switches over to battery power at night automatically. Now with that in mind, let's get started with what will be possibly the most essential circuit required in any base that utilizes batteries of either size. There are a number of components in the electricity system. That being said, you won't need all of them, especially for simple projects. Getting the various components is relatively easy. Most of them drop in normal square crates, including the BP.
Yeah. Let's get to hooking this shit up, bro.
There are a few tier 2 items that drop in military crates, and you buy the windmill from the bandit camp.
We have blockers. that need power to connect the loop, like an always off MOSFET, then you would have to run a blocker that triggers them after the panels lose power. I remember you saying that earlier, but this guy's video is being poopy. So you're saying you take your branch and you put most of the power what you need on one side, and when the power gets low
and we'll
enough.
explain each component's function along the way. First, install your solar panels. It's important to note that solar panels must have clear access to sunlight. Building and in-game structures cast shadows, which will stop your solar panels working. Even partially covered panels stop working completely. They are either on or off, no in between. To make sure they get enough sun, build them clear of your base, with one facing east and one facing west, so that at least one panel receives charge all day. They are also easy for trolls to break, even with just a pick, so elevate them if you can with triangles off the side of the roof, or this elevated
That's not a
platform
thing
that Gal came
anymore.
up with.
You can't
Now
pick
install
break
a
those
root
things out
combiner
easily
and
anymore.
Run the cables from both the morning and afternoon solar panels to it. The root combiner will combine the power sources into one line, which then feeds into the next component. Note that at the moment root combiners don't stack, as in two root combiners.
Yeah, so this is
cannot
an
be
old
plugged into
video.
Another root combiner. Whether this remains the case is
This
yet
was
to be
like
seen.
something that was
Install a
broken in
splitter
the
and
first
connect the
week. And then after that they fixed it.
charging in absolute. To remedy this, we've come up with a way of blocking the battery's power outline whenever there is power coming in from the panels. It's a little complicated, but follow along and it'll make sense when we're done. Above the battery, place an electrical branch and a blocker, then run a line from the splitter to the electrical branch's input. The E branch has two outputs. Run the main output on the right to the battery, and the branch output on the left to the blocker's pass-through port on the left side of the blocker. Hold E on the branch and limit its power to 2. We only need the minimum power required to signal the blocker. This serves to both run power to the battery and signal the blocker that electricity is coming in from the solar panels. As long as that is the case, the blocker will ignore any power coming from the battery, which is the next step. Run power from the battery output to the blocker's input. Look at your battery, it should be charging now. When the sun goes down and the solar
Okay, so what he was doing, he wasn't using an OR switch at all. Not sure what's up with this YouTube video. It's like completely like fucking bugged out and loading.
power from the battery output to the blocker's input. Look at your battery, it should be charging now. When from the battery output to the block.
Back it up just a little bit here. So he's powering into the bottom of the Dubit. He's putting the branch power into that. So the branch power is blocking from the solar. So that means I hook my power out of my battery. No, that's not working. So my power going into the blocker. That should be blocked though. It's still discharging. It's discharging because it got hooked to this fucking pass-through. Gaining power. Look at that. What's up, bud? Does this seem more right to you guys? Sun goes down, this is getting charged. Does that mean now I need the ore switch though? Because I should either have power coming from the panel from the solar outside, or power coming from that. Does that make more sense? So we got power coming in, charging the battery. Power coming down and running the Dubis. Blocking the power from that side. The problem is the power is too low right now to still operate my Dubis. When this gets low enough, that should turn on green though on the right side, and the left side should go red. And that's when there's going to be not enough power to run that blocker anymore. Boom, switched. So the question is, how do I get it so it switches when it gets below like 25 or something? I think I'm going to have to get a little more technical on this. Once I figure out this whole battery thing and how this is supposed to work, I think I'm going to be pretty solid on this trap base idea. If I want this to work right, dude, I gotta have it switch power when I get down to about 25 units of power. Which would be well before it gets completely dark. You know what I'm saying?
Is there a way to make like a counter do that?
Well, I mean, I might be able to make... See, this is an incremental thing. This counts... It seems like this counts based on like you walking by it with a laser beam attached to it, or stepping on a pressure pad. You're kind of counting how many people have walked by it or something like that. Some of that stuff is like time based, where you have a timer and a reset. Like you could maybe get it to like, you could probably make a clock and say this is when it's high noon. Now you start the clock, and at this time of day when this counter has gone so far, do this. I mean, you can, if you could do it, make a Rust clock, but then if the server ever restarts, then your Rust clock is going to be completely off, and it's going to switch power at the wrong time. And that's going to be like one hell of a motherfucking mess of wiring to do and counting and shit like that. So, I mean, technically, you could probably make a timer to make the timer start doing it at the right time. But, that's probably like way overthinking it. So a timer would work. But what I'm trying to do is if the solar gets down to 25 units of power, switch power over to battery power until the solar comes back to 25 units of power, then switch back over to solar. That would probably be like the optimal way to do it. Then this OR switch, you'd have power from the solar until the power got too low, and then the battery would take over and the solar would turn off, and you'd, you know, power your whole entire trap unit that way. So you like that idea I came up with? You build like a base you operate out of. On a wall of the interior of the base, you have 4 different signs, one sign for each trap base with a light that turns on with a receiver. So when the trap gets set off, the transmitter sends a signal out. The receiver receives a signal at your main base. The light turns on above the sign that says which trap base it was at, because each one's going to have a different frequency. And then when the trap goes off, you kill yourself, spawn on the bed in this base, go downstairs, collect the guy's loot, put it upstairs in a box, come back up here, reset the timer, or reset the trap. That would turn off the light at the base, close the doors to the turrets, open the door to the way in. You kill yourself and spawn back at the main base until you see the next light go off. 4 different trap bases on the map. 1 centralized base to live out of. You can still put like a small, like a workbench in each one of these bases, and a couple furnaces, because you're going to get like wood and materials off of people. You're going to want to cook some stuff. You might want to make some new ammo for the auto turrets and shit. You'll be getting scrap from the people you're killing anyway, and things like that. And then you just have 4 trap bases, and you just rotate throughout them as they get loot. Seem pretty easy.
Seems like a decent plan.
Mm-hmm. So what I need to do is I need to set up like a few of these things. Make our centralized base, make the power work properly. I think if I can get the power working properly, the transmitter part's going to be easy to set up. But I got to figure out this power issue, because we need to be able to have this thing on 100% uptime. Remember when we used to play with John and he had set that thing up? It seems like the base would always have kind of a dead spot around dusk and dawn, where it was switching between powers. But I don't know if it was because he wasn't sure what else we could do to make it work the way we want it to work, or I remember trying to make a photocell so that like you could cut power with the blocker with the solar panel, but like you had to have the solar panel facing the exact right angle, so when the sun went down at the right time or the panel lost enough power at the right time, it would switch power over, and you could do it like that too, but it was really dependent on which angle you had the solar panel sitting at, and it'd be a lot of trial and error. You could spend a couple of rest days just trying to make sure that the panel was in the right location, spending, you know, facing the right direction, so that when the sun went down enough, it would rotate the power out off the blocker. I almost think this counter might be a way to go, though. If you get the counter to say, if I reach 25 units of power, maybe you could, instead of using this as a pass-through, you could tell it to change the power of the blocker. See, right now I don't know why the blocker's got power, but it's not blocking the power. Oh, because this is no longer passing the power through, so it's not blocking the power. I get this actually doing something different. Now it's blocking the power because now it's not just passing the power through it. I don't know, dude. I'm gonna have to do some more research. Alright everybody, I'm going to go do some research. I'm going to spend some time on this tonight still, I think, but I'm just going to do it off stream so I can watch some videos and concentrate. I'll be back tomorrow maybe for some more of this stuff. Maybe we can get this all figured out before Wipe Day on Thursday. So let's get this figured out. Let's get this fucking going on. It's the shebangwackadubas.com. Tabernac is right. Thanks for all the bits, donations, follows, and subs. We'll see you guys all tomorrow. Peace.
Yo, Turbo.